When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying. When they tell you their investment conviction is dying.
Oh no.
But the market's dead. That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up, guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend to the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and split. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and split. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip.
What up, Vigilantes? I'm really happy to have Mr. A here with us. I want to talk to you, Mr. A, about many different things happening in crypto right now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm super stoked to be here. It's been a while since we had our last chat, and the market's is doing what it's doing. I'm actually really happy that internally we've called these past 4 months actually almost perfectly to the T, and it's unfolding that way. So subscribers are getting exactly what they need. So I'm super stoked on that.
Awesome. So let's just do this, man. Let's just jump right into TA. Where are we in the market?
Okay, so basically the past 4 months, BTC has been grinding against the previous all-time high from 2021, which is around 69K. And I think that's actually really good and healthy. I think about 4 months ago, everyone's like stupid bullish coming off the ETFs, calling for six-figure prices by summer, and it was just so frothy and crazy. And it's actually not the healthiest thing for us. I mean, those who don't follow markets should know that a slower, more controlled ascent into high prices will lead to even higher prices. So if it pays off to be patient, because then you get a lot more out of your Bitcoin than if you just go straight to 100K and then crash and have a bear market 3 years. We don't want that. So I'd rather take a longer base to get higher space.
Right on.
So I could take us to charts if you want, or we can talk about other stuff before. So just let me know.
So how about we look at the long-term chart for Bitcoin and see where we are at with the bull run, because you did your doodle where you expected us to be at this point, and dude, you've been on the money. You and Mr. W are on the money. So tell us, let's see, I see you're pulling the chart up.
All right, so you can see my desktop, I think.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So I'll work my way to that chart. First, I'm going to start with the monthly chart here, which shows this is a very long-term chart. It shows the previews all-time high here on month 35 from last bull market, and then we had a cycle bottom on month 47 right here back in November 2022. Right on schedule. That all played out perfectly. And then we came out of that. And then as we began this year with the ETF madness, we had this move up to here into this zone here. And it was actually quite bullish. I mean, this massive candle here was just quite a lot, too much too fast in a way. So it was right against all-time highs. And the fact that we've been doing this right here for the past 4 months is actually super healthy. It actually also builds a nice cup and handle formation, which is a bullish formation for those that don't know it. And now that we keep spending time here, the more time we spend here, the better, before we actually start moving towards what is hopefully a move towards the top up here in late 2025, which would be much higher prices. Ignore the prices on the side. I just have this as a time marker, month 35. I had this here as a month 24 high, and we're coming off of this. Man, there's a possibility we could go all the way up there straight, which would probably be lower prices. So that's what I had up here. But now that we've done this, since this madness, I'm actually quite happy to see that we are having a more controlled, reasonable move. And the longer we do this here over the remainder of the summer and into the fall, the more likely is that we go into much higher prices up here, which is what we want to see. So from a monthly perspective, everything's good. It's just bright green. We're taking a break here, healthy break. All dips are to be bought in a bull market. So if we get a more significant price drop in the next while, especially down below 60K in the 50s, that should be bought. And it's just overall healthy. Contrary to Twitter vibes right now, it's not over, and the bear market is not on our doorstep right now. So with that said, go to the weekly here, and the weekly is also looking green. We had our dip since the ETF madness, dip down to this area here, been grinding up. It's all bright green still, no major red things. I just think this is going to continue doing this for the next couple of weeks before we can finally come out of it and go higher or start grinding higher, which leads me to my next chart, which is the doodle that I made back in March.
That's it.
Or everyone was calling for a move straight to 100K, 150K very quickly. Should have been the end. If we had done this, it would have been over, and then we'd be in a bear market right now. At this point, I think it would have been terrible. I didn't believe that at the time, and I actually basically put this doodle up that I created based on previous price action. And it's pretty much been doing exactly what I said it would do for 3 months. Okay, so here we are. We're about to go to the next month. And next month looks like we'll have a climb. Hopefully we'll get a nominal all-time high and still a boring summer. Summers tend to be choppy and boring with Bitcoin. Maybe just grinding with slightly higher prices. Then another dip in the summer. And then we get the fall move, which is the classic beginning of the season into higher prices. Bitcoin loves its October, November massive pumps, and that's what I have right here. So ideally, that's what we get going into year end, maybe in early next year, right here. And then if things play out the way that I would like them to play, we'd have a dip into the tax season selling, all the BS that we get usually in the spring, and then have one final move up to the top towards the middle of the next year or end of next year up here in much higher prices. So that's what I'd like to see. Doesn't mean it's going to play out like that. Certainly don't trade anything based on this. This is a doodle to see how my predictions go. And so far, so good. I think we're about to have a move to higher prices soon, which is nice to see.
Okay, so Ed Bugo says that we are in for a market crash. And that he's usually when I spoke to him, he said that he's usually like 2 years off. Like he says, okay, it's gonna happen in 2006 and it happened in 2007, 2008, So this is right about time for it to actually follow the pattern of what he's been projecting and his, So he says by the fall. I'll go back to the fall. What do you think? I'll go back to COVID so everyone can see what happens in a crash. So here's the COVID crash, which, in many ways we saw it coming back then. We didn't know what was going to cause it, but there was cause for concern here. Just like I had cause for concern here, and I called this breakdown before it all broke down. Many people were still bullish here around that time, and I was like, oh, no, this is a double top, and then all the signs were pointing towards it going down. I pretty much told everyone to get out around 52K or so before it was all done, and then we went down to 15K. But on the COVID rollover, actually, we also saw this coming, months in advance, and it happened. But look how fast the recovery was. It dumped during the big scare, but look what Bitcoin did right after. It acted as the spring for what was the most insane run that actually topped out earlier than it was supposed to be. It got here up in April, and because it got here so early, it had a 50% correction, and then it tried to get up here, which should have gone a lot higher.
but because the FTX scamming that was happening right here, we double topped, and that was it. So you can see what happens when there is a crash. It's actually the best time to buy Bitcoin, and the recovery is usually swift and quick, and it gets us back to where you were in the crash within a month and a half. And once it chills out for a bit, then it has the spring and all the energy like a slingshot to launch into the very top and much higher prices. So let's say we're to get a crash, right here. That'll be perfectly fine with me. We can go to 40,000. I think that'll be perfectly fine. But after that, watch out above, because Bitcoin after these crashes tends to go absolutely vertical. And if you go back even further than that crash, to back in the Silk Road days, then this is what happened to Silk Road, right? We had the Silk Road crash, from 260 down to essentially $60, and then we went to 1,200. So from $60 to 1,200, that's what Bitcoin can do after a crash. So dropping down to 40,000 could easily take us to 300, 350,000 in a crazy move up, which is what a lot of guys are calling out there. Like Robert Kiyosaki, rich dad, poor dad, used to be a real estate guy. He's calling for 300,000 plus Bitcoin. So it's possible. And if there was a crash, I think it was after the spring. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But I would buy shit tons of it if it was to happen. That's the buying opportunity of a lifetime before a absolutely parabolic move to the upside.
Right on, right on. So let's talk about market psychology, Mr. A. You're a veteran. You've been part of the crew that first started charting Bitcoin in the Bitcoin Talk forums. What is, at this point in time, like, should people just start getting ready to take gains? Is that what the most appropriate mindset is?
No, I think when you're grinding against all-time highs like this, it's time to be in. It's hard to go against that psychology where we're all-time highs, we should be selling. But usually what happens is that's just
I'm assuming, but I'm asking in the assumption that people are already in.
Well, if people are already in, there's nothing to do but hold, because
Exactly.
this is just consolidating before it goes up much higher. And if you're not in, buying at a previous all-time high after a bear market is just much more likely upside. It's a safe place to buy before it goes much higher, and then you can take profits. But I certainly would not be selling here in any way. This is not the time to sell. I'll not be selling because there's a fear of a crash by any means. If I have extra money, I'll put some of that here right now. Save some, always have some dry powder left for buying in the event of a crash. So that's perfectly fine as well. But I'll certainly not be taking major profits right here at this point. I don't think that's the right time to be doing so. And the seasonality of Bitcoin is usually it goes a lot higher in the fall into November, December. So if you're looking to take profits, timing wise, that will be the time and the season to do so, not in the middle of the spring going into a summer in the sell in May and go away vibe of Wall Street, where everything's just super boring.
So as you grew as an investor, as a trader, you can probably look at people in the way that they're acting in the markets, and you probably say, "Oh, I've been there. I know why they're acting the way that they are." Do you have any maybe personal insights you want to share that maybe help listeners as to how to best acquiesce your mind to the market and what happens in real time during these environments?
Yeah, so an environment like this where you're bored, like we have been bored for the past 4 months, pretty much the only thing to do is do nothing. Go outside, go hang out with your kids, go enjoy the outdoors, go do something else. There's nothing to do here, or like try to trade this chop and boring period. There's nothing to do. Going into summer, same thing. If it continues to be a boring summer, do nothing. Go enjoy your summer. There's nothing to do. In an environment where you're really not interested in Bitcoin at all because the price is going down, the less interested you are, it's probably the time to buy more, like it was in the bear market. There's absolutely zero interest in it back in November of 2022, or it went down to 16,000, actually 15,800.
Right.
Which is the price I told Jeff to buy at, and he bought at basically exact bottom. So that worked out nicely, and no one was interested back then, and that was the bottom. And then the opposite of that is when you're super excited about Bitcoin and you're talking about it all the time, and you feel that you're the most genius investor in existence, and you have massive gains along with all your altcoins. That's probably the time to start taking profits and lock them in into things like stable coins and gold-backed coins like PaxG. That's what I'll be doing when I'm super excited and thinking that I'm a genius. That'll be the time that anyone should be doing that.
Okay. And it's interesting how the simple things have to be learned well in order not to make big mistakes, and a lot of it comes down with allowing your time to grow and realizing, if you're watching this, that to be a good trader, to be a good investor, is not something that you will be able to master overnight. Like, know that you will be wrestling with yourself, right? It's easier said than done, what Mr. A said. It's easier said than done because there will be times where you will be your own worst enemy. Fear will kick in, greed will kick in, arrogance will kick in. And so be aware that being in the market is a learning experience in and of itself. And it's mostly a learning experience about who you are. So, Mr. A, I want to ask you about altcoin season and Bitcoin season. Many are probably asking, where are we? Are we in altcoin season? Are we in Bitcoin season? When do we expect altcoin season to happen? Is it after do we see the Bitcoin rise that you are predicting?
Actually, since you've asked that, we'll just go to the handy altcoin season index. There it is. It's telling us, it's Bitcoin season. Bitcoin season is down in the 20s. Okay, it's down here. So I think all focus is going to be on Bitcoin over the next while. We had a mini altcoin season up here back in January, where altcoin to BTC pairs outperformed Bitcoin. Right now we're in Bitcoin season. So what should you be doing here? Well, if there's altcoins that you're interested in, probably a time to buy them. The newer, the better. If you're interested in the altcoin from 2013, it's probably not going to do so well. Things like Litecoin, wouldn't be too interested in that. But something new like the Solanas of the world, or AVAX, or even BNB is doing pretty decent right now. Those would be things that you can put some of your Bitcoin into, because you're looking to outperform Bitcoin with your alts. At the end of the day, at this point in time, if you buy an altcoin and it can't outperform Bitcoin, there's no point in holding it. Why hold something higher risk when you can just hold low risk Bitcoin and do better?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the attitude I approach the altcoins with. Second of all, spread your risk and do your risk management properly. Don't go all in a single altcoin, because you might not do very well. Have your Bitcoin stash, and then take a percentage of that, not the majority. This is for Joe Public out there. Like, don't take the majority of Bitcoin and buy alts. Take a percentage of that, and then buy equal amounts of a basket of altcoins that you like. And all you need is one or two of those to do really well. And you've already outperformed Bitcoin vastly with just those two in your basket. And if some of those don't do well, or they go down, or they go to zero, doesn't matter. You've already outperformed. You already got your profits, and you can live another day if things went sideways with a couple of them. So spread your risk, buy altcoins, now, because I think now is the time to start adding over the next while, kind of like this. We're going to head down here and then probably have an altcoin season going into the fall, winter. And I think that is going to occur. How do we figure out when that's going to occur? You look at Bitcoin dominance. Right now, dominance is going up. It's going to dominate more and more and more. But when dominance turns around and starts to go down, altcoins will start to pick up. And that'll be the time where we're going to make gains on the altcoins. But for the time being, I think dominance wants to go higher and test these areas up here towards the 60% of the total market cap of all crypto. And once it gets up there, they'll probably be the top and we'll start rolling over and the altcoins start picking up. And they'll start to pick up when retail comes in. And I think to this point, even since the Bitcoin bottom, retail is not here yet. No, you're not hearing about Bitcoin from your cab driver or from like your massage therapist. And when you start to hear about Bitcoin from your cab driver or like your therapist, then that's when you know retail's in. And that's when the madness is really in full effect and you start to think about taking profits, but we're not there yet. So that's where we are in the seasons of the crypto world right now.
So let's talk about the hippest and coolest of altcoins right now, Solana. Solana,
Okay.
Mr. A, what's up with Solana? Where do we see Solana? And I have a very honest question for you. Do you see Solana overtaking Ethereum in market cap?
In market cap, I couldn't answer that. But what I can say is the Solana chart is almost an exact copy of the Ethereum chart in the 2016, 2017 phase when Ethereum was hanging out about the 150 to 200 area. Like almost an exact copy. So if you don't have an altcoin, it's going to outperform and it's lower risk at this point based on just chart. Solana is probably the one to buy. Are you going to get 100x of it? No, you're not going to 100x of it. Are you going to get a 10x out of it? Probably. Are you going to get a 10x of Bitcoin at 60,000 to 600,000? Probably not. So I think it's a good bet to jump on something that's $150 that could go to like 1,200, 1,300, 1,500 when the madness really kicks in, or even higher. I don't know. But in addition, also has the usage right now. I think Solana has proven itself to be the fastest, cheapest blockchain. Mm-hmm. And the way it's behaving right now with the usage is actually really high. And the whole meme coin on top of Solana thing is behaving very much like NFTs on Ethereum behaved last market, except this time all the hype is on Solana meme coins. So there's that usage. You can't do anything with those meme coins unless you have Solana in your wallet. So there's demand for it. The network continues to grow. So fundamentals and the chart look good. So with that said, I can look at a Solana chart. I'll look at the one against Bitcoin first, and I'll look at it on the weekly scale, just so we have an idea of where we're at. You can see that since the bear market bottom has been climbing nicely. Now it's consolidating right here. A lot of more bearish people are going to say, oh, this looks like a head and shoulders, but a head and shoulders in Bitcoin in a bull market is usually bullish. It's bearish in most places, but in crypto markets, head and shoulders in a rising bull trend tend to be bullish and they end up resolving to the upside in crypto. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not seeing any red here. It's mostly neutral. It's gray candles. And I think there's neutrality, just consolidation before when Bitcoin breaks out and Solana on the US dollar pair also breaks out and starts to outperform it overall. And I also have reasons to believe this is actually getting pretty oversold here and negative. Therefore, it should be starting to turn around in the not so distant future. So I'll be a buyer of Solana here, anywhere below here. You see all my arrows there of like places to buy. So if it gets down there, I'll be a buyer of that.
Nice.
That's against Bitcoin. And the important part is, will this outperform Bitcoin? You know, and you look at the long term, I mean, this is just it's ready to go up to here, which is the all-time high against Bitcoin. Very much how Ethereum did it in 2017, and then much higher. And at that point, it will actually really outperform Bitcoin. And it's rare to see an altcoin do this and get the 12-time highs against Bitcoin twice. The Solana seems to be the one that's going to do it. And if you're going to be in any of them and you want lower risk, that'll be the one to use to profit against Bitcoin. And when you look at the USD pair, also on the weekly scale, also looks super bullish. I mean, just look at this. This is climbing the wall of worry and getting ready to tag its all-time highs. Got pretty close. Got here to 211 before it got to 260. Interesting fact is that Bitcoin got to that 260 top way back when, before it went down, and then to 1200. So here is 260. It's corrected down to 120. I think 1200 is kind of a no-brainer with this when it happens. And once this thing gets really going and retail gets involved, we easily see four-figure Solana. So why not buy some at $150, knowing that it can outperform Bitcoin, which is why you want to hold altcoins. And if you can't outperform Bitcoin, just hold Bitcoin. So I like the way this chart looks. I like the fundamentals. I like the network. I pretty much like everything about it. So I like to stick with it.
Nice. Very, very nice. Looking good, Mr. A. So, hey, while we're at it, because, we're talking about altcoins, it's there's a lot of development happening in Monero, and full chain membership proofs are on its way. It's the leading privacy coin. Do you have the Monero chart handy?
I do. And
Awesome.
first, I'll show Monero against Bitcoin, because you know my attitude, which is if it can't outperform Bitcoin, then why should you hold it? This is on Poloniex,
Yes.
longest running Monero chart in existence since Monero started. And if we go all the way back to the very beginning, this is the bottom on 2015. And I'll compress as you can see the top in 2017 against Bitcoin up here. This was an insane move to the top. But since that period 6 years ago, it's been bleeding. It could not achieve anywhere close to here on the last bull market. I had this area marked here forever, and look what just happened. It just tagged it. This goes back to here. So I'm kind of hoping this is the bottom. Now, will Monero be able to have an all-time high against Bitcoin up to here? Just to give an idea of the percentage necessary to make that happen, that will be a 1,200% move against Bitcoin. Not against the US dollar, against Bitcoin. Okay, keep that in mind. As Bitcoin goes higher, Monero USD goes higher. So to outperform at 1,200% is almost impossible, in my opinion. And like I said, it's very rare to see coins do two all-time highs against Bitcoin over 2 cycles. That was 2 cycles ago. So this is going to be the 3rd cycle. So is it going to have a nice run? Yeah, it could have a nice run. Is it going to outperform BTC and break all-time highs? Probably not. I don't think it would do that. But it has its uses for privacy, especially in situations that are life or death. I think it's great. It's a project that I like. But as a store of value, it's not the best store of value. You can't outperform Bitcoin. But it can definitely do things that Bitcoin can do, which is privacy and faster transactions on a day-to-day for smaller amounts. And when you look at the weekly in USD terms, I'm going to magnify out, and that makes that double top more obvious here. This is 2017. It got to 500 when Bitcoin got to 20,000. Then we had a whole cycle, and then Bitcoin went to 70,000, 69,000, and all we got is 500 again, double top, and we've been bleeding ever since. So now we're back at 173. Got a nice bottom here. Can we get back up to 500? Yeah, we can get up to 500. I think that's a minimum move into a bull market right now. Breaking above that, that'll be the real test. It all depends on how long it takes to get there. If it goes there really fast, it's not going to do so hot. But if it builds a nice base and build slowly into this area. Then we can actually break out. And then I could see Monero getting to, the $1,000 area, 1,200, 1,500. That'll be nice to see it do that. I'm not calling that because it is getting smacked down with regulators pretty hard. And liquidity is something that affects these things a lot. And also usage. When you don't have liquidity, usage becomes more difficult. And that's why Solana is doing what it's doing, because the usage is so easy. It's just so simple for Joe Public to, use some fiat and buy Solana and then buy whatever they want with it in a few seconds. With Monero, it tends to be a little more difficult. There's more friction into getting your fiat into a privacy space and maintaining your privacy in the process too. It's something we teach you with coin control at TCV, how to maintain that privacy. Even though you have a privacy coin, getting your privacy from buying it with fiat is something you have to work on. So yeah, can we get to 500? Yeah. Can we double it up 1,200? It's possible, but it's not as safe of a bet as the Solana chart, which looks very, very bullish and didn't have this double top right here. So that's where we stand on Monero technical and Monero technicals right now, which is good to see. Nice to see it finally carve out a bottom, but definitely higher risk.
It's just so wild to me. It's fundamentally speaking, it's such an amazing project.
Whoop.
You know what I mean? It's such an amazing project, and it's just I'm baffled. How is it that the most badass cryptocurrency proper, with complete fungibility for digital cash and digital gold, how is it that the market doesn't embrace it? And so it's yeah, it is what it is. I guess I guess the market doesn't need privacy as much as we would think, and it goes to show that, in a sense, it makes me realize that the world is safer and nicer than we tend to believe. Because the day that people really need privacy, well, I think Monero is going to have a lot of usage. I guess we live in a nicer world than we think. At least that's what the market's telling us.
I think what happens with Monero is that because it's not proven itself as a store of value, people buy it, they use it, they get their privacy out of it, and whoever receives it sells it because they are concerned about it losing value at the end point when they have to do other things with it. So that's why that happens. So it's kind of like a privacy layer. It's a privacy protocol of the crypto world, but it's not a store of value. So there's a lot of in, a lot of out, and the price doesn't explode because no one's holding it. There's no hype. And privacy is not the sexy thing. It's not. There's like all these meme coins with the funny things and blah blah blah. That's sexy. It's new. It's exciting. Privacy is not something that people want to have fun with. It's a very serious subject, and
it is.
I think
people are tired of being serious.
Yes, it's like that's why the meme coin thing is just exploding. They just want to laugh.
Right.
Don't want to think about the bad stuff.
Yeah, it's a bigger FU to bring down tyranny with laughter than to bring down tyranny with seriousness, right? And stoicism. It's a bigger FU if you're having fun. And I think the market, that's what the market has desires is for us to have fun.
Yeah. But I believe Monero breaks that $500 all-time high, there'll be a lot of hype around it. And then we'll get some significant outperformance of Bitcoin at that point. But again, I would not hold any altcoin through a bear market, period. End of story. Like, doesn't matter what it is.
You said through a bear market.
Yeah, through a bear market. Yeah. Once a bear market hits, it's you get out, run for the hills, hold some stable coins, hold some PAX G, which is basically like holding gold, and wait for the storm to pass and then reassess it later. You hodl Bitcoin for many, many years because overall it's going to keep outperforming. But altcoins, why take a 98% loss when you could have sold much higher and then about 10 times more of that at the bottom. If you want to buy more altcoin at the bottom, you probably buy 10 times more than you did when you sold. So why hold it? There's no need to hold it.
Mr. A, you're such a stoic, man. A lot of wisdom. Which is
Yeah,
like it's it's the red pill, the black pill people need to hear. And it's the reality of the market. And as much as you may love your altcoin, the truth is that um the market is the cryptocurrency. Without the cryptocurrency, there is no market. These technologies as standalone technologies are not, they don't really do anything. They need a network effect. They need liquidity. They need to be used. And so it's a yin yang, right? And I like what you said, that after a bear market, you can always jump in back into your favorite altcoins and load up on more. Mr. A,
yeah.
so if you want to please share with everyone what is it that you do at the Crypto Vigilante? I'm pretty sure people will be interested in learning more about you.
So basically, I'm a technical analyst. I analyze mostly crypto, but I also have a look at traditional markets every so often, just so we can look at with my tools. A lot of my tools are different than everyone else's out there. Some of them are specialty, some of them are custom. So you get access to that, which you can't get anywhere else. And I do this along with Mr. W. We've been working together for over a decade now. It's like 12 years or something. And sometimes we do videos together, and we work really well together. And you get two perspectives. They're often in agreement, but not always. And you pretty much always covered all week. Sometimes 4 videos in 1 week to update you on what's going on, trade ideas, where to sell short term, where to buy short term and long term. And you just stay in touch with the market, and you can go outside and enjoy yourself when things are boring, because we're telling you it's boring and there's nothing to do.
Awesome. So one last question. With the state of the market and the projections coming for the rest of the bull market, does Mr. A agree with you? I'm sorry, Mr. W. Is Mr. W in agreement with Mr. A?
Yes, we're very much in agreement. After working together for over 10 years, we tend to be in agreement, not all the time, but I think we play off really well of each other and bring a balance to all the points of view, so that everyone can make decisions based on where we stand. And on the rare disagreement occasions, then it's always fun, because okay, which way is going to play out? But nobody takes it personally.
That's awesome. Mr. A, do you have any last words of wisdom as we continue on with this phase of the bull run?
Yeah, I'll talk about 2 things. The first one, which I think is the number one thing, is the risk management. I think risk management is something that everyone in crypto really does not consider very much. I personally think that managing risk means being mostly in Bitcoin and assigning a smaller percentage to altcoins, many of them, 30 or 40, and spread it equally across all of them. So equal amounts in all of them when you're buying them. And then all you need is, 1 or 2 of them to really go crazy, and you've done well. Very much how venture capitalists do what they do. They invest in 40 companies, and 38 of them, fail. 2 of them become unicorns, and they got all their money back times 1,000. So I think that's how you should approach altcoins, like a venture capitalist, and just put equal amounts into all of them and manage your risk. And the second part is to not be attached to any altcoin, regardless of how advanced or technologically sound it is. Because the bottom line is altcoins, it's very rare for them to be a 2-trick pony and outperform Bitcoin twice. I showed that Solana chart with, looking ready to actually outperform Bitcoin for the second time in a row. That is the 0.01% of altcoins in existence. So even after you sell an altcoin, the top of a bull market or near the top of a bull market, it comes down, you really like it, you want to buy more, I think you should not, rebuy the entire amount of altcoins times 10, if you can you get even more, and actually spread your risk accordingly and put it into Bitcoin and stick with the king of crypto, because that's where the low risk is. And in the longer term, the risks get smaller and smaller. And there's a reason why BlackRock has an ETF and they just keep growing and growing and growing, because they know. And they actually built their AI to build the perfect portfolio and actually assigned 85% of it to Bitcoin. So if BlackRock is saying go 85% in Bitcoin, you should probably pay attention to that.
Awesome. Any thoughts on the Ethereum ETF? Does that change the paradigm for a Bitcoin ETF at all?
No, I think Bitcoin ETF is going to continue being what it is. It's a limited supply asset that has a lot of trust behind it and liquidity. I think the Ethereum ETF will get approved. It's great. It will probably trigger the beginning of an altcoin season. So that's the catalyst that will provide. We have to remember that Ethereum is not a limited supply asset. It's actually inflationary right now. So it's something to keep in mind. Will have a huge pump? Yeah, it's going to have a huge pump, I'm sure. Would outperform Bitcoin overall? I don't know. I actually don't think so. It couldn't do it since 2017. Failed last time, just like Monero. Monero couldn't do it. Neither did Ethereum. So, and with Solana when it's chasing its tails right now and outperforming it, I think a lot of the attention going there. So, yeah, you can be in Ethereum. You can, take the gains, but don't expect it to make new all-time highs against Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, very rare for an altcoin to do it more than once. Interestingly enough, Dogecoin isn't one of the coins that does that, and it keeps making all-time highs in Bitcoin across multiple bull markets. So that's a good one to be in, even though it's the OG of meme coins. It continues to move sideways and outperform, and then move sideways and outperform instead of degenerating against Bitcoin forever, like 99.99 of alts.
Awesome, Mr. A. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I think we're going to call this show Bull Market Coaching with Mr. A. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Awesome, Mr. A. Well, till next time, guys, peace, love, anarchy. Now we are dealing with a possible world war. Some will say we are already in a world war. My condolences and prayers go out to everyone suffering under tyranny. It really sucks. I'm really sorry. But it seems as if people are starting to wake up regarding crypto more and more each day. And so it's in the description right here to read, where we give our secret sauce and what we teach our subscribers, because things are just that bad. Everyone needs this information. People need to know about sound cryptocurrencies that are actually private by default, and to know how to properly use crypto.